now, weapons from the U.S. and Saudi Arabia meant for Syrian rebels were sold on Jordan's black market. That's according to American and Jordanian officials. A joint investigation by Al Jazeera and the New York Times has revealed the theft. Al Jazeera's Ali Younes is joining us now to tell us more about this investigation. And how did the CIA, as well as Jordanian intelligence, allow for this to happen?
Well, they did not know that it was happening initially. This program obviously was authorized by the CIA to purchase weapons from Eastern Europe and the Balkans, financed by Saudi Arabia. Of course, both countries have vested interests to help the Syrian rebels to topple the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. And as the program, which was called at the time Timber Sycamore, the plan called for to ship the weapons into Jordan, and Jordan, because of its proximity to the Syrian conflict and it's on the border with Syria. From there, once it arrives from Jordan, the Jordanian intelligence, the GID, tasked to transport logistically, take these weapons and drop them off to designated secret points from where the Syrian rebels will pick them up and take them. But as it happened, as we have discovered in our investigations, we found that the logistical operations of the GID, a lot of officers, were actually siphoning off these weapons. They were stealing these weapons because they thought, well, this is a windfall of weapons, we could sell it on the black market.
What kind of theft are we talking about here?
We're talking about truckloads. Initially, the weapons, as we have found out, it was a trickle of weapons, maybe individuals, but then it has increased as truckloads kept coming into the country to supply the Syrian weapons. And this program, between 2012-13 up until last November 2015, and it was not discovered back then until, in fact, it was discovered, but it wasn't systematic. It wasn't as extensive as it later on it has become. But when a shooting happened last November in which a Jordanian police officer killed 2 Americans, 2 Jordanians, and 1 South African. As it happened, as we also discovered, that weapon that was used in the shooting, the serial number of that weapon was traced to these shipments of weapons that were designated to go to the Syrian rebels.
Right.
So this sort of like opened the lid to more investigations, and of course the CIA and the Saudis complained to the Jordanians about the theft, and it was kept under, undercover, hush-hush investigations until we discovered it.
All right, and have you received any response after your investigation was revealed? And also, what does this mean, in your opinion, for any future arms programs for the rebels in Syria?
Well, we talked. Now, before the story came out, of course, we've talked to the Jordanians. We talked to the Minister of Information there, the official spokesman. Of course, he flatly denied anything happened. We've talked to the CIA, and we've talked to the FBI, because the FBI investigative unit that any American get killed oversees the FBI. And we've talked to the Saudis as well. Saudis refused to answer any questions. Officially, the U.S. Department, in fact, they gave us a response. It's in our story. But not on record to implicate any of the Jordanians. They stuck with the Jordanians to say, we are supporting the Jordanians, Jordan, in its war on terror, and it's rightly so from a perspective of American. Jordan is a strong ally of the U.S. And but also in our story, we found out that this GID, although it has some history of corruption, past generals of the head of the GID, but as we quoted in the story, we have people who say the GID as an institution is patriotic. Most people are, honest people, but, some bad apples, obviously. In this case, several dozens of them.
Sounds like it. Okay, Ali Younes, we thank you very much for joining us.